Herzlich willkommen zurück zum Tranergy TV und heute sind wir immer noch im Technoclub beim 34 Jahre von DJ Taller 2XLC in seiner Karriere und er hat heute ganz tolle Gäste eingeladen, unter anderem auch diesen jungen Mann an meiner Seite, Will Atkinson. Schön, dass du hier bist heute. Will, thanks for being here today.
Pleasure, thanks for having me. Thank you. I had a great night, so it's good.
You just finished your set 10 minutes ago. How do you feel?
Just finished? Yeah, it was good. Difficult, to be honest. It was sort of, I think they like more trance. I was trying to sort of go down a sort of dark techno route, so had to rein it in a bit and sort of, you know, dish out the trance. But that's good. It keeps me on my toes, and that's part of my job, to sort of read the crowd and sort of play to their reactions. Almost. So.
What was your feeling of the atmosphere tonight? I mean, Technoclub, first time here.
Technoclub, but they want trance.
Yeah, but I mean the people and the
yeah,
atmosphere.
No, it was cool. Yeah, there's good reactions. Played a lot of new stuff. I got great reactions as well. So good crowd and. Yeah, I've had fun. It's good fun.
When you watch the flyer or see 34 years of DJing for Tala, I mean, is he the ultimate trance god for young artists like you?
Yeah, that's ridiculous, to be honest. I mean, I've been doing it for about 8 years and I feel like I'm ready to retire. But no, respect him. You know, he's done a lot for the scene, and like, hats off to him.
When's the first time you heard the name Tala 2XLC?
First time I heard it, I couldn't tell you, to be honest. It's one of those names that pops up, you know, like, and you just sort of hear about it. The first time I met him was we just finished the gig in Leeds, which was a bit of a nightmare, but we were on our way to our separate airports to play separate gigs. But that was the first time I met him, was a few years ago. So like maybe a few years ago, sort of met him for the first time, and then obviously then tonight's happened. So.
What kind of standing does Tala have in the UK?
To be honest, I couldn't tell you. I mean, I don't really focus on other DJs, to be honest. I'm just focused on what I'm doing now at the moment, to be honest. Like, I've sort of just stopped really looking at what everyone else and just focusing on myself, which sounds selfish, but that's what I need to do to sort of progress, I think. And I don't want to be worried about what other people are doing, but I mean, big respect to the guy, you know what I mean? The guy's a legend, so fair play. And again, thanks for having me for his night tonight. Thanks to him.
Will, I'm going to say one word for you. You're traveling a lot these days, and I hope you know what I'm talking about. I'm going to say one word for you. Asado.
Asado, yeah.
You know what that is, right?
I know exactly what that is.
Okay,
That's exactly what I'm after.
Code Rover.
Eh?
Code Rover.
Load Rover.
Load Rover.
Yeah. Unbelievable. There's basically it's like a. When I go to Argentina, the guy's got his own restaurant, the promoter, and.
Where is that in Buenos Aires? Is that your Florida Avenue, or do you know where that is?
I couldn't tell you.
Is it in the center?
Usually where I stay is Palermo.
Oh, there. Okay, yeah. It's a suburb. It's one of the city suburbs.
Yeah.
Very nice area.
Well, that's the best restaurant.
That's where it is.
Okay. Yeah, just lean, fresh meat.
Okay.
It's unbelievable.
What was that gig for you like? That was very recent. Buenos Aires is, I think, a place.
2 weeks ago. Yeah. For me, my favorite place to play is Buenos Aires or anywhere in Argentina, because it's like the crowd, like they give it all. They're there till the end. They give it 200%. They're there till the very end, and you know, every drop, every break, every kick, they're going nuts. So it's the best for me. The best place to play.
A track that really inspired you, "Stay With Me," Angelic.
Angelic, Stay With Me.
How did that kind of really get you into the mood for making amazing tracks?
I first heard this maybe when I was about maybe 10 or 11 years old. It was Judge Jules, and he used to broadcast radio. He used to broadcast Springfield's live when he had his Radio 1 show back in the late 90s. And I first heard him play this track, and it just the reaction, the melody, everything just took me in. And from that was the moment I realised this is what I want to do. Like this, like I never went to the palm of his hand. My uncle bought the record. It's the first record I ever bought. I got my uncle to send it up to Orkney, because there's a small island in Scotland. We couldn't buy records in Orkney, so I had to get my uncle to buy the record and send it up. And I just like my dad used to have just one record player, so he used to just listen to the A side over and over again.
You didn't get sick of it either, huh?
Never.
You have a very special relationship with him. Is that stronger now, or how has that developed over the years?
Jules has done a lot for me. sort of took me under his wing, so to speak. I listened to the show from the start, so I was literally obsessed with the guy. It turns out he was booked first to open our first nightclub in Orkney, our only nightclub called Fusion. He was the guy to open up, and I waited outside with my mum and my dog with a record, which was, I think it was DJ Leeds, that camera, the DJ remix. So I waited outside till 3 AM. I was about 12, 13 years old, signed the record, and from there we sort of struck a relationship. I sent him music, and then he played my first track on Radio 1 in 2008, and then yeah, just from there on he just took me on the wing and pushed me. I can't thank him enough.
Yeah. You released a lot of tracks, like 90 between 2011 and 13, or productions that you were involved in. What's the secret between really always coming out with very good material and not producing really shit? That is possible, you know?
Question, isn't it?
No, but it's true though.
Yeah, of course. Well, I think you need to just always be looking up at the next next level. You know, never be trying to make the next. Never be sort of.
Der hat schon nicht geholfen, du Blödi. Ey, ach scheiße, kannst gerne Bomben.
So I interview these guys ask them a few questions. What was the question? Sorry, I forgot.
Basically, how you are able to really produce many tracks, but always very unique.
Well, that's it.
Shit.
Yeah, well, it's like each track should be another level. It should be always sort of working up to the next chart, the next level up. So I mean, people that I have no respect for people that use the same kit, the same template, the same track time after time, and stick to the winning formula. Like the whole fun of production is challenging yourself. You know, like branching out. That's what I've started doing now. I've got house, techno, trance, the whole thing. And why be happy with one sound? Why not want to get to the next level? That's part of production.
How has your sound developed in the last 8 years? I mean, are you happy with how it's developed? I mean,
I'm much more happier this year than I was, say, the last 7 years. Sort of sounds come together, sort of molding a nice sound now. But like I say, I'm branching out at the same time, so still sort of discovering where I'm going with it. But I'm much more sort of comfortable where I am now, as well as maybe at the start, maybe last year or whatever. So.
I think you're coming back to the Technoclub soon. Is that right?
I'm not sure. Is that possible?
Dark Boy?
Dark Boy?
Yeah.
I don't know. Technoclub here?
Yeah.
Really?
You have an alias, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I thought I read it. Whatever.
That's could be interesting.
You have psi elements.
Psi, yeah.
You're going into that area. I mean, how is that exploring new sounds like that?
Well, I'd say to begin with, Darkbird was sort of psi-based, but now I've sort of become tired of psi-trance. To be honest, I think everyone's playing it. You know, everyone's jumped onto it. It was interesting to start with, but now it's lost its shine, and then I've sort of taken more down a more break sort of techno route. So that's the sort of direction Darkbird is, more techno break oriented.
I really like Eternally. I mean, when you listen to your own track like that, where does that kind of get you mentally? I mean, when you have like some time to reflect on life, or
Eternally really hits me hard when
that's what I mean.
To be honest, man, like that was wrote about a few special people in my life, and I'm not going to go into it. But every time I play that, it's goosebumps every time, and that's like a really one of the most special tracks I've ever wrote. You know, the melody was sitting on my laptop for ages, like maybe a couple of hours, and then I finally sort of got into the studio and made it, and I just sort of found a place, and yeah, it's a really sort of special track, and I can't really play it out anymore because it makes me so emotional. But it's I'm getting emotional just speaking about. So next question.
One guy that you can really tip your hat to is John O'Callaghan, because he's released your tracks on his label Subculture.
Yeah.
I like to ask this question to the young DJs or guys that haven't been around, because John is in another category because he's been there longer than you have. Do you think maybe if he'd come onto the scene 5 years earlier than when he did, that he maybe had come into that Armin van Buuren status? Because he's really so talented, and he's kind of, he's up there, he's known, he's respected, but why isn't Armin where he is? I mean, no disrespect to Armin, I mean, he's amazing, he's done so much, but JOC also has done a lot, and I mean, it's kind of not up at the real top, where I think he could be.
I think because Armin is the peak of trance, like, because he's been there. I think that could be it, because maybe John came into it later than Armin did.
Right.
Armin's
maybe if he'd come a little earlier, maybe 5 years, or
it's hard to say. It's a tricky question, but I think Armin he's done it perfectly. He covers the whole of trance, so why look elsewhere? Because Armin's playing John's tracks, Armin's playing everyone's tracks. He's at the top. That like he caps everyone else. Like, so I mean, that's why people need. That's why I'm branching out. You know, I want to go other like different directions. I still do trance, but as far as I'm concerned, Armin's done it for trance. Someone else needs to come up and do something different. It needs to break the mold. It's just stuck in this circle for the last 5-6 years. It's not going anywhere.
What's your opinion about, you know, just a lot of these guys kind of, you look at Tomorrowland, I mean, it's very EDM, and Armin, you know, was there and he's playing kind of different kind of music. I'm not saying it's different than, but I think when he played there, it's different than if you would play a State of Trance. I mean, obviously he has to do what the bookers say, but I mean, do you think that's good for trance?
Like I said tonight, I think it's difficult when you're put on the spot. Like tonight, I had to sort of play to the crowd a little bit, you know, when you're in that situation. I mean, and Armin's got maybe 20,000-30,000 people in front of him, you're going to need to sort of go with it a little bit.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you need to have balls, you need to try stuff, like, otherwise where are you going? Like, you're going to get stuck again, and like no one's going to hear anything fresh. You need to sort of have the balls just to, you know, smash it out, and like otherwise people are just going to sort of just take what they get and not really want to go hunting for more. So I think you need to sort of read the crowd, but definitely have the balls to like smash it out at the same time.
I like the remix for Breakdown. You did it in Tent.
Yeah.
How was that difficult making that remix? If you remember back, I know it's hard with all the music you make.
I wouldn't say it was difficult. I would say I had a clear vision where I was going with it. Living in Tent's my favourite tune from Greg anyway, so I hope it done it justice. It seems to get good reaction anyway, so I was happy with it.
I also like Victims. That's one of your newer tracks.
Yeah.
I mean, how was it making that track? I mean, it had very good feedback, and I mean, how special is that track for you?
I'd say for me that's my strongest track yet. For me, the most happiest. Like when I'm in a club and I play my own track, there's always bits that I think, no, I could have done that, I should have done that, I should have done that. But for me, Victims, every time, it's perfect. There was nothing I would change about it. There's nothing at all. They used to have a totally different breakdown, which I changed. I showed it to one of my friends. He came up to my studio. He listened to it, and it had the darkness at the start, the darkness at the end, but in the middle was just this sort of Ibiza sort of summer breakdown, and it just didn't work. So he said, sort of, you need to strip that out. Well, you need to change it. You need to go dark, like you know, keep harping me with the darkness. So that's what I did. I stripped it back, put the darkness into it, and like obviously we got the #1 Beatport, which is unbelievable. Yeah, that's really good. So it all sort of fell into place with Victims. I've one of those tracks that I wouldn't change a thing about it.
You play all over the world, and usually when you get somewhere, the promoters take care of you, or the DJ like Tala, he picked you up at the airport. But tell the story about you and Jordan Suckley in Argentina.
Oh my God.
You guys were on some trip or going somewhere, and you were very scared.
That was some trip. We just finished playing. It was me, Jordan Suckley, Ben Nicky.
Yeah.
We just finished playing in a club in Mar del Plata, which is a beautiful sort of seaside city in the Argentina side of the south. And we just sort of we'd come out the club, and apparently there was an after party happening. We were asked if we wanted to play, and it sounded good. We were like, let's do it. Next thing we know, we're getting pushed into the back of a van. You know, you don't need the sliding doors to get to the back of the van. There's no windows. It's just a purple van. We get pushed in, and then we start leaving the city. And we get to like a sort of like a shanty town, sort of ghetto thing, and we start thinking, what's going on? The car stops. The guy that's trying, he says something to us. I think he says something like, right guys, we need to be careful here, this is blah blah blah. Next thing you know, he opens up the dashboard, balaclava, machete. We're sitting there, me, Jordan and Ben, we just think this is it, this is finished. You know, 3 superstar DJs found dead in Argentina.
Yeah.
Next thing we know,
is dead now.
Yeah, that's it. 30 cars come up behind us. We thought these were gangsters or something. It turns out these were ravers following us to the party. So we got to the party, it was in the middle of some forest in Argentina, played there till about 6-7 o'clock, the sun came up. And it was just one of those stories you'll take to the grave. Like, it was amazing, it was a happy ending.
Jetzt filmst mal nicht so viel.
What future productions can we await from you?
There's loads of stuff from Dark Cloud, stuff from myself. Josette, or Josette, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Well, that's like sort of house-based, progressive house. So there's loads of stuff. There's a track called Sunslip on Son of Egypt. Another track on Subculture, which is the follow-up to Isolator, or Victims, I'm not sure yet, but I need to think of a name for it. And what else? Another one coming up, can't remember. There's loads coming up, but it's just finishing it, that's the problem.
What's been your favourite track in 2014?
2014. I'm not going to choose one of my own tracks. I'm going to choose. I think I would choose Angry Man Lunatic, the After Dawn remix. I only sort of just. I don't know if that came out last year, but I've only discovered it this year. And I've been playing that all year. Also, Cyrus D Thunderstruck. I've been playing that every set. I think that's amazing.
Very soon, probably in the next week, the DJ Mag Top 100 list will be leaked, and then we will see that DJ whoever is number one or whatever. How do you think this whole development has gone the last few years? It seems like this whole DJ Top 100 isn't that important anymore, just because it all seems like DJs aren't also making as much promotion anymore to vote for them. No, how have you seen the development?
It was never a big thing for me at all. Like, I think a lot of DJs are sort of catching on that the whole thing's a shambles, to be honest. Like,
but it does help you get gigs if you're way up, right?
That's the problem. But I mean, I think that's what separates the real guys from the fakes. The people that are in it for the music and the people that are in it for the glamour, the money. You can throw 10,000 in, you'll get so many votes, blah blah blah. But I mean, it's for me, the music's subjective. You can't vote for anyone judged based on whatever. It's like I might like this track, but you might hate it for your reasons. But for me, I might like it because of something that happened in my life. So you can't base it on, you can't poll people. It doesn't make sense. Music's there to be enjoyed for different reasons from different people.
You have a fear of needles, and if the trance doctor came to you and said, I inject you, if I may inject you, you will have the next 5 Beatport #1 songs.
Yeah.
Would he be able to do that to you?
I don't know what sort of doctors come up asking to inject people.
He's being nice to you. He wants to help you.
What's he inject me with?
So you will make
the power to make the number one
songs. Yeah.
Like I said, I prefer the challenge of just trying to avoid needles at all costs and just.
So I mean, if you have to get a shot, what do? Do they have to numb you up, or?
I don't take them at all. Like, the only needle I've had was a cortisone injection, which is like a steroid for my shoulder, which was injured, and I couldn't feel it because they numbed it. But for blood tests and stuff, I can't do it at all. I had the condition as a boy. Like,
so what do you do? What happens?
I don't take needles at all.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got an allergy which I need needles for, but I don't take that at all. I take pills and. Because when I was a small kid, I had a condition for blood disorder, so I had to get needles every day, 4, 5, 6, and that was the worst thing ever. So it just traumatized me. I just can't do it. At least I couldn't be a junkie anyway.
Yeah, that wouldn't
I can't take heroin, so that's fine.
All right, well, we've come to the end now. If today, this won't happen, but if today was your last DJ set, you had to retire today, what would you end your last DJ set with?
Dogzilla Without You.
Oh yeah, definitely. Okay, right, I know that.
Definitely.
You said that. Okay.
Definitely.
Great track. It's been 205. Who did that again? It was very known producer.
It was Simon Patterson.
Simon Patterson, right? That was his
another guy that you worked with.
Exactly, Simon Patterson.
Yeah, it was like sort of a rock, sort of ballad track.
Right.
Well, it was amazing.
I'm a big favorite of Paul Van Dyke.
Yeah,
back then.
I think it was. Yeah.
Will, it was a pleasure.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Great set today.
Cheers.
Keep cranking out those great trance tracks and come back to the Technoclub.
I would love to. Thank you very much. Cheers, guys.